And now another in our candidate profiles. Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich has defied the odds more than once in his political career. And we note that in this campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination, he has a very devoted following, even if he has not scored terribly well in the polls. Dennis Kucinich was born in Cleveland, Ohio. His father was a truck driver.
My family had a lot of ups and downs. I was the oldest of 7. And my parents never owned a home. As the family kept expanding, we kept just moving from apartment to apartment, maybe house to house, but the houses were never, or the apartments were never big enough to accommodate our family. So by the time I was 17, we lived in about 21 different places, including a couple cars.
Kucinich says his parents worked hard at keeping the family together, but when he was 12, there was a crisis.
After my mother had her 5th child out of 7, she experienced what today would be called postpartum depression. It was very hard for her, and she was sick for a long time. And there was a point at which a number of us ended up in what was then known as a children's home, and we didn't know if we'd see our parents again. We didn't know if we'd see each other again. It was hard.
Kucinich was small, but he's always been scrappy.
Maybe that's how leaders are chosen. When you're small, you get knocked around a lot. But you learn that's part of striving, and so you don't take it personally.
He remembers always having to work a little harder.
I worked 2 full-time jobs for the better part of 2 years to save up the money to go to college and enrolled at Cleveland State University. I understood the importance of education, and actually I ended up being the first person in my family, when I finally graduated.
Kucinich was elected to the Cleveland City Council in 1969 when he was only 23.
I was interested in politics from an early age. I may have been 16 years old, where I actually had an intuition that I was going to be mayor of Cleveland.
The people of Cleveland have spoken.
Kucinich was elected mayor of Cleveland when he was 31. In 1977, he was the youngest mayor of a major American city. The city was in disastrous financial shape, and it got worse. The city went into default. Kucinich was blamed, and he was defeated in a bid for re-election.
It took years later for people to realize that I did the right thing in refusing to sell the city's municipal-owned electric system, because 15 years after that, the city of Cleveland announced the largest expansion of any electric system in America. And at that moment, people said, well, this couldn't have happened if Dennis, that's what they call me in Cleveland, if Dennis hadn't refused to sell. So it was that moment where things started to change. And so I came back and I was elected to the state senate, and 2 years later I was elected to Congress.
How you doing?
Kucinich admits that politics puts a strain on relationships. He has been married and divorced twice. A New Hampshire website held a contest to find him a date.
It just isn't easy. And, I still hold open the hope, but I can tell you that that's one area I'm not going to be trying to give anyone any lessons in.
And why is he running for president?
I guess, when you're the oldest of 7, you kind of achieve like a leadership of an extended family. In a way, I look at this as an American family, and I have been in a leadership position as a member of Congress, and now I want to provide more, leadership on another level.
Dennis Kucinich. All of our candidate profiles, as we've said before, can be found at abcnews.com. When we come back this evening,